The next section of the homage or no masala. Yeah, he's looking for it. That's it. 표준과 쟁아와 들말로 딜로주로와.
네.
어디샤버들로인데.
디
게왜 어디샤버들 셀링 게
유브르 집에 잡라 구이차 살서 때버도. 다 신다 첨버디 딘마로 주.
원래 유버제베 라마 그자zel라데.
네.
The next section of the
바다 담바순가 즉 주진들 수능이라 다데니 주진들 수능에 다 제르무치기 마 용해다 송가르다.
The homage or respect to the lineages of the spiritual masters. It says Maitreya and his spiritual followers Asanga, Vasubandhu, and Vidya Kokila. Manjushri and his followers Nagarjuna and the supreme wise Saint Shantideva, the ruler of the Golden Isle of Sumatra and his disciple the noble Atisha, and his Tibetan disciple Dromtempa and his three spiritual brothers Potowa, Puchungwa, and Chengawa.
아티시는 마기네 담가 순가 추진들도 좀 레스로와.
So the first one, Maitreya, and then to Asanga, then to Vasubandhu, and then to Vidya Kokila. When we look at the lineages of the practice of awakening mind or altruistic mind, the first lineage we called extensive, practice. The lineages of extensive practices. And that lineage starts from Maitreya and then pass on to Asanga and then to Vasubandhu and then Vidya Kokila. And then second lineages, what we call profound, the lineages of profound view or concept of philosophy. That starts from Manjushri and goes to Nagarjuna, the two kind of lineage masters. And then third, which is also called extensive, practice. Extensive blessed practice, should I say? So that practice is actually part of the practice of altruistic mind, especially within the altruistic mind. If you know the different technique, the technique of exchanging and equalizing oneself with others. And those, practice has lineages from, Shantideva, the ruler of Golden Isle, and then his disciple Atisha. So, what we see here is, three, lineages of the practice. And then, when it comes to Atisha, then Atisha becomes kind of a holder of the lineages, which are a combination of all three, and then from Atisha, brought to Tibet. So what it also kind of signify is this teaching is the combinations of all these great lineages, combining into one form.
장주기 샘기 담백이 돈달라 조저파데 아디샤 야가르니 아니 아게 셀링 율라 다탄다 있네 인도네시아 식도 와다티 주이나라 로치 달다와 둥 데리기 가책잖네 페네 아니 주단타 탄다나 진데기 둥 펜시데니 엄마라티티 때 답자데니 미로와 아니 추신다 데리기 지바제니 시우지 공알 짭지 바 페르스 숨긴도와 와다테니 디갈라 오니 이 남제 여행딩이 디기디 장주기 셈달라 직 담바 딘 지기 돈달라 덴디 칼리gem네 페브레스 와다 디페네 디 이 장주기 셈디기 담바데 이 차상지다 조지바데 디샬라 추진들 거데 담바 순간 하네 온도도 시디갈라 남바상기 비다 베기 템바디야 베 담바 때 순가 주 진딜니네 담바 순가 창대니 보다 또 순냐는 제 용인지 자대로 비다고 쉬우자대요 어린 라마 셀링 바당 어디창이 따와게 차기 있나 라마 셀링부터 센잠바래 따외잖아 센잠바 저배잖아 장주기 있으면 쉬우지야 인자 아니 저지 바다에 따외잖아 당기버래 되어래 저배잖아 장주기 있으면 담바다 쉬우지 자치무 인자 라마 셀링 버거니 최동화도 폐지돼 유바라와 어다 되니 이거 쉬우지 나랑 좀 단다 딘디 덤비 다 담바게 균데 만냠바 원이 가서 즉 단다버도 여겨도 디 인자 다 베기 넘버 상게 비 템바데 겨름부지 시부지 자첨보레 날렌데 투모마임베 담바 푸도 중화데 예스 수야데 어디 때마 투고하래 투사데 가지 조지바데 아디샤 날렌데 개발해 별라니 베 담보 팽에 손쟁감보게 내는 주야게 답 가사 큰진 지와츠양 날렌데 개발해 큰진 지와츠고 로마 고민 다도 토다 버숨 쟁엔디야 날렌데 개발해 벤진 나로파 날렌데 개발해 딘디 인도가라 베기 담바티기 상기 템벤 중고데 날렌데 개발 답 푸도 중화 자리요래 인도가라 남체 때 이도가라 tinsa seri paina tati chik nangpe tatu thumo maim bala ta kache de chede da nangpe jungni shesha gyogi semgin rothang dang lui gi tucha dang tenne mabu jela tona chigi doa gyawrum je sungdo oda tenne idgala shiuji sa chmu chabar de injuranda
the ruler of the Golden Isle of Sumatra and his disciple, the noble Atisha. So, as you know, you might have heard the story of Atisha and how he kind of made immense effort, gone through extremely hardship in attaining the teachings, the transmissions on the altruistic mind, and the special instruction that he received from his teacher, Sedlingpa. Sedlingpa is from Sumatra, and nowadays that country is Indonesia. So Atisha, when he was in India, he traveled all the way to Indonesia in ship, spending a year and almost 7 months. And you can imagine at those times traveling in ocean, without kind of proper facilities, and there are lots of risk of sea creatures or animals. But however, Atisha received this teaching from Sedlingpa, and Sedlingpa, his teacher from Indonesia, in terms of tenets or philosophy, Lama Sedlingpa is the holder or follower of the mind-only school, and Atisha himself was actually the holder or the followers of the middle way consequence school. So in terms of tenets and philosophy, Atisha is holder of much kind of highest philosophy. But however, Lama Sedlingpa has a great or profound or in-depth or genuine practice of altruistic mind. So therefore, Atisha intentionally kind of went to Indonesia to receive special instruction on altruistic mind, practice of altruistic mind, and making and putting this much kind of hardship shows the value or the sacredness of these teachings and transmissions. And so, as we mentioned before, from Atisha, it is considered that Atisha is like a river, and then all other streams of different lineages came into one river. So Atisha becomes the practitioners who has the lineages of all others, big three lineages together, and Atisha later came to Tibet. And likewise, if you look at the previous great Indian masters, spiritual teachers who came to Tibet during three religious kings such as Shantarakshita and Kamalashiola, who composed the three volume on meditation, first, medium, and end or later stages of meditation. These were all great masters from Nalanda tradition, so that's why His Holiness kind of often emphasized Tibetan Buddhist tradition that we have is has a continuous lineages passing from one master to another, and the original kind of masters were all from Nalanda University. So therefore, these lineages transmissions or teachings are considered as very kind of genuine, pure, and authentic.
오다 신다 침벨람소 스스남세 만데 서버진에 레든바 니디 야와 니바 송카바 자나 집에서 그이차살 다 지순 잠에 너무 집에 지순 송카바 첨볼라다 처벌제 기중들 신다 첨보 시드갈라 직 곰볼루줍당 파바 토메니리 다디 유정 신사 제와 유정 원이야래 곰볼루줍당 파바 토메니 점된데 중니 지데 로투게 공라 점된데 jinla 페네 로투게 제수 중하래 지데 로지게 제수 중하래 티 인디가라 공이 아니 즉 바게 드디 상기 템바 데나니 테바침비 템바도 팔자 누베존데 차네 가르체네 누베존데 차여르잖아 즉 바기 대정기 땜바데 팔자리요 말 가르잖아 이 점된데 숭되가라 즉콜 이양다바 왕본 넘보 되는 용식이 발라 숭요 말에 용라지는 숭요 말에 마숭되가라 즉디 지준 잠배양 라이트 텐션 아니 지준 잠방고 라이트 텐션 딘디기 치도 잡인 늘자기 상기 땜바데 숭되요래 디 나율데나 오네기 지금 사도기 전주 세바지마다 요즘에서 나예요 말때기디 근데 인도가라 바바 토메기 지순 잠바니 잠바툼네 아니 바바 토메기 이 지순 잠바투바다 로기 가르숭야도가 즉 바게 지순 잠바툼네 아니 배 로망보 뚝뚝뚝네 아니 만잘레체 아니 양겨디체 아니 지순 잠바 두니에 나가 또 레나 마타나 나예요 말와 아니 지진 잠바니 베 타마달라베 두니 사망보 디제니 두데 타마달라 아니 키모지 아니 부터긴지시 아니 지진 잠베기 투게 바바토메기 투 마자베체니 키디 다 바게 부디 테나 부디 시시두그레 다 신지 테나니 부시르게테 아니 베 키들라 나자 용거를 공어제 애니 랑게 샤데체 애니베 알자게 두스텐데 두즈벨 자게 두스 미츠네 자게 테용도가라 미디 치디가라 대기 키모데 지진 잠바 다 두스체니요레 오다 텐디기 로기 주수야도 그래서 뭐네 무슨 충격을 로기래 오다 때라 살지 말 살을 임바 망보 지진 잠바 공보 지진 가르 파파토메 tumne lo sumlaji sumjen sumla lo guzi tubra kanche sarchi tumne ani yangkyor manjaleche ani idanche chilol toyende michigi nani richi phagi yangyore salgore karchigin ne khampa tima bog ngedi ride tenje ani pe khampa nima shara zuguin se lagyor la inde jizun chanta tulo pobakin tanta tsinzi samjilla nima kyuzi sharayajilla nindiji kale gyagina ni jizun chamba tu yadla telikyan tungi yore zeni yangyor pen yangyor losum tu yama chu ani yang tuiche yang pe yondegala ani michigi dongboji chegero jashoji kurde jagi chobokini dongbodu sadargore karachin ni dichegi dinga goguyo ani dichegi insudugala 자기 쇼파기 미디 딘디지 제기인 배 돈단 딘디지 신디 섬나 딘디지 갈 두리기야 갈레기야게나 네데 땡이 요게레 텔레간데 양겨 패베레 에니 타마데 양겨지 두스지 나나데가 양마두 양투이체 양치로 어떤데 패디가라 미지기 짜르릴지 두스 다르체 에니 캅스고인 라고 오다 덴데기 겐 마라지 살숨 체제 애니 바게 지순 잠바쿠도 타마데 키루지지 애니 도스제네 투비 바게 마저베제네 네 진짜 방금 순자야 된지 중거리 와다 이 중네 지진 잠배 아니 드론이 엔 잠체 대가 센지 아니 잠주 기센게 담바데 누스제네 지진 잠바네 파바 토면 누스기네 와다 두스레 껴지 직순이야 소야지요 와다 두스레 디니더 쇼 칼리잔 마도 디기테라 미도 디인데 잠주 기센게 담바데 다 오제니 아니 직 바기 센잠베 디 파바 토메기 이탈레 갸치르다레 나메 람설 용인데 람가 용인데 람가 춘충데 람가 랍침부지 갸침부지 그래 신한 도투야지요레 밀람데 신한도에 람가 저인가 신다 술체세 센잠베 신다 술체베 파바 토메데 아니 곰부 루투테 직 우마비 신다 술체세 딱 즉 서징인도 공부도 우마 탄주로서 당연히 곰불루도 인자 우마리 저도 보다티 곰불루도 다 개발해면도 개발 나가서 개발했던 싸워니는 말은 점으로 미승도 보다 즉 오늘 나더리 봐 대가라 인상 처리 버도 곰불루도 켈랭에 배 세리바 망보도 승도 보다 즉 곰불루도 매인 돌아 시작해 봐 점버리 시작이 보다 된디 인도가는 곰불루도 즉다 언이 통용 거로 곰불루도래 참마미 정 수용 거에서 언 통용 거 된디 인도가라 곰불루도 우마비신서 소제 두스레 기 인도가 신다 침베 람수 소소나 만데바 사와치니 아니 베 간종라 아니 베 지르나 베 줄루 나라 망보다 여대 여르데 대나니 제르무지 치기 전점 인제니 오네 치기 잡았삼 마토파 상기 개탄 다와타파 루루 구중 찌마 지진 소르데 겸거름 숨도 안 맞다 즉 된디기 하기 치기 니반 도다다 되고 싶으시 맞아 시기 말와 같이 안 보시나 보밤 지득지나 그게 시기 말와 겸거름 보자 레베투리 할레베투그 공발링도 인사 대소 세부송도 오다 텐디인들가 만데서 레버 체시가 오다 대바 투고 하는 동가 제르무치다 때 투무만 봐. 즉 나바상기 발라 할레베 커팅치 뭐 차대요. 야 오다 폰 제르무치 오다 구찬 집이 중대 디리
디 블루투스 통메디 론 계시라는 거 로가 주선 쉽게도 곱게 말해.
네 쉽게다. 아 쉽게는 곱게인. 많이 양만 되어도 론이 쉽게는 바나 루루 지지걸론 고블루루.
제래니 가서디 참바 공부도 배들 로중이 선생.
로중이당 중이다 실기자다 중이 강을 받쳐 주기 있게.
네. 되베디
숨전 숨도.
계시라 당기 구송소.
아이, 숨전 숨래. 중이 지송 중이. 숨전 숨
So
로중이 자거래. 현 숨전은 숨여라. 안데 양주라. 네 제마들라 죽나라. 제지죠.
The next section of paying a homage is to Lama Tsongkhapa, who is considered as although there are many, the many great pioneers in Tibet, but Lama Tsongkhapa is one of the most kind of foremost scholar. I posted at the feet of the great emanation of Manjushri Tsongkhapa, the second conqueror of these degenerate times, who propounded the individual spiritual paths of these great pioneers with extreme lucidity and coherence. Supreme among all his wonderful teachings are the means for activating the awakening mind. I shall expound his perfect teaching with absolute accuracy. Those fortunate to follow the way of the great vehicle should pay close attention for true appreciation. And as Nagarjuna and also Asanga, his follower or disciple, both of them were actually their coming were both predicted by Buddha himself. So they were prophesied their coming. There's a sutra, Buddha's own teaching, in which he says that after passing away of Buddha, after 400 years, there will be practitioners or Orient monk named Naga. So Nagarjuna, and then after 900 years Asanga. So both of them were considered as the prophesied by Buddha himself, and until after like 400 years Nagarjuna came. Before that, Buddha passing away, and during those 400 years. It's hardly to see the actual kind of existence of teachings of higher vehicle, and the understanding or the consideration is that those teachings were mainly maintained or preserved by the noble beings or bodhisattvas such as Manjushri, Maitreya Buddha, and so later we see, for example, Asanga. Has stayed in a retreat for meditation for more than 12 years in order to have a vision of Maitreya Buddha. So they are if you look back into the kind of the histories of how Asanga made an effort, we see such stories like Asanga after spending 3 years in retreat, he kind of was tired and lost his patience, came out, and when he came out he saw somebody kind of moving entire mountain bits by bits, and he asked why you are moving this mountain, and the person told that because this mountain is covering sunlight on my house. So Asanga kind of reflect on that and thought, just for a short moment of life somebody is so dedicated in moving an entire mountain, why should I be making more effort? So then he went back to his cave and he spent another 3 years of meditation practice. And when there was nothing, and he saw somebody kind of cutting a tree with the feather. And again he asked question, and he was kind of surprised and realized how his effort is not strong enough. Again he went back. And then after 9 years, he came out and he saw, a person making a needle from a huge, metal, sort of rubbing on the cotton. So he asked, what she was doing. She said, "I'm making a needle from this, metal." Again, that kind of convinced him that he needs more effort. And then, after sort of fully 12 years, when he came out, expecting to have a vision of Maitreya, he saw. A female dog covered covered by maggots, but the dog is not dead. And then Asanga, out of immense compassion, wants to save that dog alive from maggots eating, but then he also don't want to hurt those maggots, being a sentient being. So eventually he closed his eyes and cut a piece of his body. And to move, he used his tongue to move those maggots. And when he tried to reach out, stretching his tongue to move those maggots, immediately Maitreya Buddha appeared in front of him. And then there was the final moment where Asanga had a vision of Maitreya Buddha, and after that Asanga sort of came out with the 5 great volumes on what we call volumes of Maitreya's teaching, and likewise when we look at and then the Asanga is considered as the pioneer of the mind only school's philosophy, mind only schools. So more literally in Tibetan we find the pioneer of chariot, but what it refers to is that there's already a path, but the path is not wide enough, like a walkway. But when they came, they make the path much wider, more easily kind of accessible for people, and that's why they are called the pioneer. And so Asanga is the pioneer of the mind only school from the philosophy of Buddhism, and Nagarjuna is considered as the pioneer of the middle way school. And from Nagarjuna comes the famous 6 volumes of teachings on middle way school, and most important one is the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. And these scholars, like Nagarjuna, His Holiness, appreciate greatly. Not only Nagarjuna was a scholar, but of Buddhist philosophy, but he is a scholar of medicine and many other fields of study. And nowadays, when even the scientists, when they look at Nagarjuna's philosophy, he was kind of highly appreciated. And these all teachings were, in Tibetan tradition. Although, as we mentioned before, there are many other great pioneers of different traditions, but one of the foremost scholar was Lama Tsongkhapa, which here is considered as the Lama Tsongkhapa is actually a manifestation or emanation of Manjushri, and Tsongkhapa actually, when we look at Lama Tsongkhapa's compositions and his many volumes of teachings, those were actually the same teachings of the great Indian, Nalanda masters like Nagarjuna, Buddha Palita, Chandrakriti, Dharmakirtis, and Lama Tsongkhapa made those teaching kind of, collected and again sort of really, easy and precise, to study and learn.
Sherengimboya Shijing to Chadiore. Tindigala, Kangormuji Sunda, Zambulin, Shijing don't do it, Mamboyore. Sherengimbo de la Chick. Mazu Pevin Dungi, Sherengimbo de la Tige, Pagi Chata, Yunding in Chichi. Chela Magic. Tigala, Pumunga Boteta, Young, the Janda de Yunding. Then she was quiet, the Kangorum Sunda. The Indigala, ta Japanese, ta Gemi, ta Mamboji, sharing him with Dungu, sharing him with Janda and Megan, Guli, Golin G. Megan, Ju Yonde Mendegan, Tendita, Japan and Mamboji Dungur. And Japan Lama Chembuchiki. Pe, the Gundu, Japan, Shibuji, Lama de la Cheton Yundeng, Lucini, Lama Tegi, Kamgormuji Judoa. Mi Sigi, Miss Suji, and me, Chuzuchi the she, and Nick Kamgormushi, this is a chase. And it Kamgormushi in the inn, the future Nani, Digit, I need you go, Nandan come and Nayan to Gala, Matsun Japan, Tai Lumba Mamboshi, sharing him with Dungur, sharing him the quad, Quang out Chile share your mares. In Kamgormushi Kerangi, and Bay, sharing him Bay, the Shagap, Pushidi. Was a pamper huge dose. Soon do city. Sudwa. Los warning engine that Tendiji, Tangoni, Chip, Kamgormache, Tazamshi, Twitch, and Dinangore. And Kamgormache, but a halvil Limboroa, Lapchimboroa. Then what's a baby Nala, Janda the Yending. These Sanskrit cannot do me to Kamgormache, Nyamshim Nando, Shutanando. Then Sanskrit. Tanda sharing perfect current but Tata sharing him with Tagara, Sanskin and Dusundwa. Yunjula Chip Pugit Tenjide, Zapa in the Kunji and take a Tata leg to what take it. The two Sinjugala, Matsu Chip Karsore, Mito Kumatazo, Halivin Jumbare. Morning Nyambare. What that Tinjugala, Tanang Aranzo, Ti Jinju. Yamin Checking Ugone. Kazu to Mido Comitilla Pay Chip Yun Singore, Monela Chembore, Ketchembor Kajin, Ketchmuchagora, what a tooth. The Kaji in Japan Lama Tegi, this one than Japan Lama Halibi Japan Chede Young Red Sigdota. Rose never Shibujin, Imbata Takaran Tengidoa. Jamchina Lozo Manila, Kamgoram, Missy Tuji, and Juakoran, Coca Numarwata.
Nagarjuna's text, as we mentioned before, perfection of wisdom, or also, transcendental wisdom, and there are several kind of, versions, and one of the shortest versions, as many of you know, is a Heart Sutra. And Heart Sutra nowadays we find in many different languages, many different countries, and they recite the same Heart Sutra, and like in Japan, Chinese, many South Asian nations. But the one that we find in Tibetan is, we find it kind of most complete and most original translation of the Sanskrit, and in many other translation of this Heart Sutra, either there is no kind of the beginning kind of preliminary section, or sometimes the ending, the conclusion part is missing, or sometimes not standard translation. And one word Geshe mentioned was the even. The even is the one word that is missing in many others, but that even word alone has a many. It can have a it makes a big difference in the understanding of the text. So His Holiness kind of shared his kind of this story of one of the high spiritual master in Japan. He was highly kind of respected, famous in Japan, and so he requested His Holiness to have audience with him privately for about an hour. And then when they had an audience, he kind of mentioned His Holiness that His Holiness teaching on Heart Sutra was really helpful, because although in nation like Japan they recite this Heart Sutra so kind of commonly, widely, but they really don't understand the deep meaning behind such kind of short text. So he really appreciated His Holiness and thanked him, and that kind of shows unbiased mentality of this great Japanese master. And later when we compare Tibetan text with the Sanskrit, the Sanskrit text is actually exact as when we compare to Tibetan, the Heart Sutra text. So from this, what we kind of come to know is that the previous generations, those who kind of engage in or involved in this kind of preservation or translations, were highly accomplished scholars and practitioners, or those masters, and as a follower of these great generations of Holte, or the preserver Buddhist teachings and practices, it is also our responsibility to have same kind of and we also should feel kind of sort of honored to be able to somebody who is engaged in this kind of activity in maintaining authentic teachings and practices.
Pate ola zombar tam chabadi yore. Di le pradambe dambacho chanju simla dambar jebitsu yanta chijinda ki shepracha se de pordu zombar tam chawa. Zombar tam chedegala kare yore. Zombar thar chibi khabarji yore. A kunjin jan jibe parjin nala sun yore. Khepar namji khepar namji kheji miji kalde kawe kheji langyona dola remoteable tabur ki se da wala chik lo namjo chen jucha lungla kheba indegin tigiti lela bo khelen chik mares khelen ji che sana do remoteable na jin chin ni tembo yore oda tini dugala chik sombar tam chaba ina ni sombar thar chiya ge khebra yenda oda tam chi chi dire sombar tam chi chi ani kangpa chi gi thecho lam ki kaldan tawe nyen zene nelde nyembar puas nyemba po ani pe chi nyi yondu gala thecho kheba chogi ta mone re chi kheba sidu gala samlo khebar samlo gyache chung gone kebar basum de chung re ti nani samlo lab chembu kya chembu khajib gisim jin thamjela dungal donde gi sam tangende kheba chembu inda kheba chok inda thijingi ti inda oda lam chok the chok thebenani chok oda samlo kya chembu tang thukuni lam gi dimji gi ene pe kalpadan damba chik kalpadan damba sidugala 문에 가서 그래. 딘디기 장주기 셈기 담바리 뭐지 냠발라 요즘에지 얘기 당 남아선 선언 남아선 백하고래 요즘에지 용거 용해요 말해 민용시시 엄마 생긴기 레기 소남기 투 렌댕이 딘디 미치기다 미시제야지 용거 알마다 때마다 때 미스거라 칼파달 뎀바 스두갈라 즉 딘디기 얘기 kalpainde kalpa sangpu kalpa tal demba wada tere dinda we kansa teki I tawi ngoni te nyengu re zede ta ndo de nyem par ko ase wada tere ti indigala namdel nala sungdo ne khabu pachen ne timachen ne jabda wachen dindi dang tane nyengu re sedi sundigala ta ngoni chik chik junju nala sungdo jiba jigyan wada digi wada digada wada digiti tanda di no de nyen bol kwa ne gi kyun sum ngoi sum ko ne kyun sum da talu ko ni nyen ko wada ti dan dig ne ten ko tan din ma jini chanju sem gi dam ngoni de subject tan che tu sum ko res ta ti ja chan mare
de tambanam gi kejimene de sungen sune mo
어 대군진 자식에 버진갑 땅배 타전이요. 타전이요. 그 군견랑 그 송이 있는 면이시. 그 땅배 타전이 담반는 게 괜찮지 메시지 갈때까지 되지 나잖아. 돌을 못 받다 볼게.
Next, I shall expound his perfect teaching with absolute accuracy. So, this is the, again, sort of common that we find in many Buddhist, classic texts, sort of a commitment in, composing text. So they make a commitment from the very beginning that they're going to compose this text. So the benefit includes kind of, when you make a commitment or decision, you will work until the job is done and completely and fully. And one of the note of the Kunchen Japan Sheba, there is a expression saying that the great learned scholars, they don't make a decision kind of quite often, but when they do, they will stick to their decision or commitment as if kind of striking a nail in the rock. It is firm, stable, and they won't stop until it is finished or done. So likewise, we see this kind of commitment to compose the text. I shall expound his perfect teaching with absolute accuracy, and then the next sentence: those fortunate to follow the way of the great vehicle should pay close attention for true appreciation. So this is a sort of a request that author is making for the right followers, that they should be paying close attention to this teaching. And here, those fortunate to follow the way of the great vehicle. So great vehicle, as you know, Mahayana, greater vehicle. Greater vehicle in a sense that in this vehicle, the practitioners greater in terms of intention, motivation. The practitioners of the greater vehicle practice for the sake of a space like sentient beings, unlimited numbers of sentient beings, and therefore it's a greater vehicle in terms of motivation. And fortunate here refers to those who are engaged in the practice of greater vehicle are not kind of this opportunity is not kind of available all the time. These are available only to those fortunate one who has a karmic kind of connection, or who has accumulated enough positive merit. So that's the reason why author kind of used this fortunate to follow the way of great vehicle should pay close attention for true appreciation. So he's kind of making firm kind of request that you should pay close attention to these kind of sacred teachings. And when he says this kind of fortunate to follow, here comes in general the teachings about the qualifications of the proper followers or students. If you remember in the valid cognition text, it talks about three fallacies of the listeners or followers or students. using the metaphor of waste kept up upside down, or waste which is which has hole at the end, and then the next one is the waste which has a stain or dirty. So one shouldn't be kind of any of these having any of these features or qualifications. And with that, we will stop here for today. You can ask questions if you have. We have a couple of minutes. Yeah, Bob.
Kind of back there, you were starting with the lineage, and I didn't get to number one. The second one was profound.
Yeah, the number one, the literal translation would be Nyamlin Chilab. Gajin Sumba the Gajin Jugure.
Gajin Chiki Sumbat. Lapchin Chiki Sunda.
Gajin Chiki, the Lajin Jugore.
Gajin Chiki is an Yamlin Chileki than a taking cheaper child.
So the first one is, the profound, the first one I'm some extensive lineage. The first one and the second, third is, Geshe-la said, sometimes considered as the same. So the first one is the extensive lineages of practice. The second is the profound lineages of view or concept or philosophy. And sometimes, the third one is considered as the same as the first one. The third one is the sub kind of branch of the first one. Yeah. Blessing. Selling by the Karesa. Lama selling by Sanskrit tradition, the Pali tradition.
The Sanskrit tradition, the Sanskrit Tepachambora. Tepachambora is Sanskrit Matanda Sayamai.
Being practitioners of the higher vehicle, you said Sanskrit tradition.
Hagita Tumpegi Chanita Sherp Kaje Sherabgi, Sherab the Namje Sherab Zablogi Chani, Tumta Jiti Chungwa. Tumdishani Lam Jojipada Dishale, Tuta Machambare, Senzambachimbarwa.
So as we mentioned before, in terms of the tenets or philosophy, Lama Selingpa was kind of holder of lower tenets, mind-only school, while Adisha is the holder of the highest school, middle way, consequent school, Madhyamika Prasangika school.
So back to how to study, so stay with one teaching and repeat it over and over. Now, would that be the teaching that you stay with would be the actual sutra, the initial one, and then you refer to alternate commentaries to that sutra, or would it be just staying with one teaching? Okay. So like you have a lot of commentaries from different places about, let's say, the Heart Sutra. Mm-hmm. So would you just take one but in the earliest one you could find of the Heart Sutra, the one that's most definitively, coming down to the lineage, and stay with that? Or would you also refer to the different commentaries to also broaden that base of understanding?
Lobjun Shidan, the Beja Jandan, the Morampetosha, Sheraming would have shadow sharing that sharing but Sawa the watch, that Deva Jandizambala, that Deva Nima, the color, Deva Tambola, or Numa Devajix. The entitled Tagaram Mutin Tagaran Jan or Yan Javash and Bash Sula Dam and Amanguchi, Sulanyam, the Lobjun Yabor, the Lobjun Beja Jandan candidate over the Lagos.
These Susan Namje Chijung with Jabber Chambachagre. Tal Sida Namjit the Mutavina, Beja Mambuta Giamare, Beja Chicala Kansu, Sutuelco. The Kangabu is Semala, Beja Chicala Kansusuna, any Gendanim, Beja Jendaltani, any Teda Karik Gitu. Jindaltana, any Pendoyung Grace. Count the Matsuga, the Pigeon Damindal Tatana, any Chias Yame Chagapuri. 배만다는 셔럽 차기로 해서 본다는 거 있는 거래. 어떤 레당보기 배전 나가 찍어라 강도 투투야 돼. 배 미스고 깨쳐버려. 대wan 담이라 용그래. 대wan 담이라 용어다. 민 대wan 대시 갸바보 남제 만다요래. 배나 가서 중지 따이나. 배나 람림존에 지지 따이나. tiring tana sangi tada mandaji tele ting tong ring to gogre nanya tada tele toso a kasante tadun diji samdana dusu yaga to asamji tom ring to kwae lui namchu singde di number sangi nando ripade gatsuna jire so pamana sabu doe yore tindu kala galdu da mare ina kogane sonda masan papa zone rimba mabu shuye tindi rimba do chebar yang galdu inde gendene chaya mares.
It really depends on the say kind of the intelligence or wisdoms of the follower or practitioners, so usually it is for beginners. In Kondana Buddhist text, he advised first to have a stable foundation, a stable basis. If you are studying one text, make sure that you understood that text completely, have a good understanding. Then on top of that, then if you can manage to do that, you can look at other different all kind of commentaries, and then you can broaden your knowledge on the same text that you have a good foundation. Otherwise, he's Kondana Buddhist mentioned that without having a kind of wisdom, when you try to study all different kinds of commentary, you might have a lack of intelligence, which is all scattered around, something kind of stable and strong that makes you kind of have a knowledge of one specific. So but there is no contradiction. It is not considered as a contradiction finding many different commentaries, slightly different for one root text, and different commentaries came about through different scholars with different intelligence. So based on their own understanding, they might come up with a different explanation or interpretations. And in generally, the Buddhist text, like say Lamrim teaching, when you read and try to understand, you can have an understanding, today, and then if you read again for tomorrow or day after tomorrow, with the more knowledge, you will have a different interpretation, much deeper than what you have thought before. And when you look at the same text after several, maybe a month, week, then you have a whole another different deeper understanding. So it is like the Buddhist teaching in general is considered as like the ocean. The more you go deeper, the more you find calmness. And so it's like an onion. The more you peel, there is something that needs to be peeled again. So it depends on one's own kind of ability and kind of to go deep, as much as one can.
Well, all commentaries refer back to the root text.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you can figure out what the root text is.
Mm-hmm. 자와데다 간다 대바든 상마 간다 타르투나 소자와들 랑자 토우로라.
그래. 다 남베 융루 오늘 당연지길래 가르고 와래. 대와띠 주자데 하고 와지니 사회는 루투고. 자와기 잔들 니기 주자데 삽제는 루투고 와래. 근데지 중이나 아주 배자타디걸 두시니 가족 톱톱지 때는 다 인자 아마 로니슈 숨주다는 삽제데 때용도가라 아니 잔들 또또서 갑도kap돌지 셰아라기도 와 때문에는 쓴다래 셰아 고바라 그래 맞죠 경원님하고 10분 무슨 그래 데비 군진 자한지 방가서다 또 두모마이 뭐 군진 자한지 2차도 따고 위해서 군진 자한지는 대세 갭셔긴 대와데 다 실진기 자와전이나 원도견와 원도견 퍼기는 루트지 원도견데 자외나 가르 연댕인데 바긴 대와기 삽제는 루트이나 아니 삽제디 때용도가라 자와 차례야 자와 때용도가라 대와 차례야 두수용고와 지벤지로 잘로와래 때마다 레라버지 then 나와지는 말이에요.
So yes, it has to be has to be all commentary, whatever you see has to, when you look back, it has to be within that root text, and the commentary also here, when we study text, another kind of thing that the subheadings, where we kind of break down into heading and subtopic and topic subtopic. So that's another thing. So when you study and read a commentary, you should be able to go back to root text and understand those commentary through the root text, and likewise what you understand the root text, you can kind of understand through different subheadings and subheadings and subheadings, the kind of breaking down into different topics. And again, that you will find in the commentary. So these three, commentary and classification of topics or headings, and the root text should be kind of always kind of matching with one another. And Krishna mentioned an example about Kunchen German Shepherd's commentary on 문도기
문도기 다시 진전에 가서 발진전이지나 발진이 싸워는 문도긴 작어로.
The root text of the perfection of wisdom is the ornament, part ornament, so when you study whatever commentary, you need to have understanding, you need to have those understanding of commentary to be able to find through the root text. And when you study the root text, whatever commentary that you studied should be coming, should be related. So yeah, and those has to be complementary to each other. Yes. Ari rave kurve shingam de pendan de wa mali jungwe ne chere ziwan tenzin jazo jabe side bardo tengiruchi jamba pawe jidra jambanda pondo zambo de andi shin de teda kunge jazo dalog jing jawa de da tamje rato te sum shabe jawa tamje ge mo kanga chodo ma ba de da shin ge we tawa de kunja sambo chenje rato. In the line and circle by snow-white mountains, the stars above recognize benefits, flows in your person, cherish it. Remain until samsara ends, just as the bodhisattva Manjushri between all missions, and summoned about to true. So now do I dedicate these merits to train and follow in their footsteps. As all the victorious Buddhas are past, present, and future, praise education just to train. So now I do dedicate these sources of my merit for all beings to follow.